You know, we talk about the deep state, we talk about the globalists.
Inflation versus deflation.
Well, I mean,
You're at Mar-a-Lago.
I'm baffled that this isn't front page news.
Do you guys support a specific political party, or do you dislike both of them?
Oh, it worked like a charm on you guys.
Let's go, Brandon.
What is up, everybody? Man, so much to talk about today. I don't know who's joining us from, I know we just had Unusual Suspects end. Fun show. First time in the new set. First time live in a while. They don't know how it is, how we go live every night. But I'm so happy that we go live every night because, like, there's literally so much stuff happening that, like, stuff is just, like, irrelevant within a day or two. But, I mean, minutes ago, comes out that the Taliban had the audacity to reject Trump's demand for $7 billion back, for $7 billion of equipment to be returned to us that we left there during the disastrous Afghanistan withdrawal. What up, Steve P? What up, Greenspan? What up, Louie? What up? Who else we got in here? I see we got Relentless Roamers, Cam. We got Jim in the house. Steph in the house. Mr. T. Hachismo. Everybody, what is up? We also have, oh my gosh, Trump is like all out, ruthlessly going after DEI stuff in government. So much stuff about that with the flag rules. With he set up a tip line, and we're going to show some comparison and contrasting with how things were before and how things are now. We have Trump declaring that we're going to start building American architecture with beauty in mind and not with these like ugly, nasty looking buildings that we've been building. Kamala to the rescue with the wildfires. I teased that a little bit last night. There's some funny stuff with that. Pete Hegseth, this one's weird. So his ex-wife's sister speaks to the media yesterday and is on her sister's behalf saying that, oh yeah, no, she was like the victim of abuse, and you know, she's just afraid to say it. And her sister sends her an email with her lawyer CC'd, literally saying like, lady, I'm not saying this. This is not true. Stop speaking on my behalf. You know, they're finding out that her sister's a liberal and everything. And I mean, I can't even imagine how annoying that must be. We have, what is it? We still have to talk about Trump's TikTok negotiation tactic. I want to talk a little bit about the Paris Climate Treaty and the importance of getting out of that. And the reason, you know, everybody's saying, so this thing came out the other day with Mike Johnson talking about how Biden wasn't even aware that he signed the thing with the natural gas to stop drilling or stop exports from certain areas. And everybody's saying, like, you know, who's pushing him to do that? Why would somebody even dupe him like that? What's up with this push to, you know, cut energy output and everything? I want to maybe talk about a little something called the Club of Rome Limits to Growth Initiative that came out like 50 years ago now, probably, or maybe 53 years ago. Makes a lot of things make sense. And I think we need to talk about a little thing called rules for radicals, because, you know, it's like a dying, desperate, injured animal to listen to some of these liberal people talk. I mean, there's so much good news out right now that I almost have to like force in the annoying things just so that we don't go all positive, because that would be boring. But I think first we have to go for this Taliban thing. Who else we got in here? Miss D, what's up? Always good to see you. Amber in the house. I know. Finally, Laura. Finally, I know. No, it's not my birthday today. Don't start rumors. I think, what is it? Hachismo. This is Humberto, everybody. So we're clear. He might spread some rumors. Not my birthday yet. My birthday is February 1st. I'm turning 30 on February 1st. And yeah, not a fan of that, but I don't know. From what I hear, the best years for guys are when they're in their 30s. So we'll see about that. All right. So first, I think we have to look at this freaking Taliban thing. So, I mean, Humberto asked me before how I would handle this and how I think Trump's going to handle this. I'll tell you about that, but let's take a look at this article, because this is what's trending on X right now. 1 second. Let me pull this thing up. So the Taliban is trying to play hardball with Trump. Taliban rebuffed Trump's call to return U.S. arms worth billions. From Bloomberg, the Taliban won't return any of the military equipment left behind by U.S. troops while exiting Afghanistan in 2021. A person familiar with the matter said, as relations between Kabul and the Donald Trump administration start on a wobbly note. Instead of taking back the weapons, the U.S. should provide the Taliban with more advanced weapons to the Islamic State, or ISIS, an offshoot of the Boer Islamic State, said the person who did not want to be identified, as he is not authorized to speak on this matter. The response came after Trump's remarks at a Sunday rally in which the U.S. president threatened to cut any financial assistance to Afghanistan, which is crazy, by the way, that we're sending money to Afghanistan still. I don't think a lot of people know that. If the South Asian nation does not return U.S. aircraft, air-to-ground munitions, vehicles, and communications equipment, quote, if we're going to pay billions of dollars a year, tell them what we're not going to give them, and blah, blah, blah. We don't intend to make our comment for now, a Taliban deputy spokesperson, Hamdullah Farad, said in a text message, military equipment reportedly worth more than $7 billion were taken over by the Taliban when U.S. troops, yeah, we got it. All right, so let's see first how much we give to the Taliban, or how much we give to Afghanistan each year. How much money does America give Afghanistan each year? According to an August 2023 World Bank report, the UN has purchased, transported, and transferred $2.9 billion in U.S. currency to Afghanistan since August 2021, said a Saiger report published in January. This included $1.8 billion provided in 2022 and $1.1 in 2023. Let's see, what is this? Your tax dollars going to the Taliban. When the U.S. withdrew from Afghanistan, our troops were ordered to leave behind $7 billion. Yep, the military equipment, which ended up in the hands of the Taliban, according to the Special Instructor General. In the Taliban likely gained access to approximately $57.6 million in funds the United States left behind. So you get the point. So I don't know. What do you imagine Trump's going to do with this? I mean, I said that like there's a million ways that we could start choking them out. I don't think we even need to put a single soldier on the ground. Like, you know, that's where everybody's minds are going to go right away. But no, I think that, you know, we take some of these drones that are just floating around right now because we know that we have the ability to do that. We take some of these drones we have floating around right now and just post them up right over Afghanistan and say, oh, really? You don't want to return the stuff to us? We could take out any single one of you anytime with precision now. Wasn't always precision. We used to have those, I guess, messy drones that we could accidentally blow up like 10 times the amount of people we'd be going after. Like, you know, people say that we can't be precise with these things, but I don't believe that. I think that, like, you know, they intentionally had a multiplier effect when they used to do this back in the day because, you know, they'd go after the big target and they'd bomb them and then they'd blow up like 100 of the family members, and then you create like permanent terrorists. Like there's a multiplier effect when you try to do those precision attacks that aren't precise at all. Let's see. So there's some stuff on X about this. I think they're reporting it in the Afghani news, if that's what it is. But they're going to find out pretty quick that this is not the time to play tough. So let's see what we got here. Yeah. This was the famous parade. This is the Taliban people driving around our stuff. So we can't let that continue. Yeah. Look at everybody celebrating this shit. How should Trump proceed? Let's see. What are people saying? Depends if he's prepared. Phoenix says, depends if he's prepared for the public scrutiny of sending troops back into the country again. Because we don't need to send troops to Afghanistan to influence Afghanistan and do what we want to do. Trump should send a clear message. Stolen U.S. military equipment won't be tolerated. Sanctions, asset freezes, or targeted action against Taliban leadership could be on the table. Trump didn't demand the Taliban return the equipment. Trump told the Taliban we'll be taking our equipment back and gave them an option to hand it over first. No, but this is so easy. Like, they're freaking people in caves, and we have the most sophisticated stuff in the world. It shouldn't even be a question. So we'll see how that unfolds. But in the meantime, I am very excited about just the simplest things that are happening right now. So, like, look at this rule, for example. Ready? So Trump declares that only American flags are to be flown in the United States embassies from now on for the State Department. Now wait till you see what's his name, what Anthony Blinken did in contrast to this, but let's check out what this entails. So let's see. Let's take a look at this article. Trump rules only the stars and stripes will be flown at the State Department buildings around the world, from the New York Post. It's time to take pride in American flags again, President Trump's State Department said on Tuesday. Secretary of State Marco Rubio on Tuesday banned flying any other flags besides the stars and stripes at the State Department facilities. From domestic buildings to foreign outposts, a blow to leftists who have flown gay pride and Black Lives Matter flags on U.S. government buildings. The Washington Free Beacon reported, quote, starting immediately, only the United States of America flag is authorized to be flown or displayed at U.S. facilities, both domestic and abroad, and featured in U.S. government content, Rubio ordered. So I guess, before they were straight up flying the pride flag at some of these buildings in other countries around the world. Quote, the flag of the United States is unlike any, quote of the United States, the flag of the United States of America, united all Americans under the universal principles of justice, liberty, and democracy. These values, which are the bedrock of our great country, are shared by American citizens past and present. In the order to the new Trump State Department said the decision was made to be respectful to the American flag. The U.S. flag is a powerful symbol. Yeah, we got it. However, there are two exemptions to the rule. The State Department facilities may still fly the prisoner of war missing in action in the wrongful detainee's flag. All right, perfectly reasonable. What's not reasonable is stuff like this. Let's see what we got here. I think this is it. Nope, that's not the one. Here it is. Blinken pride flag. So back in the day in 2021, the State Department authorized U.S. embassies to fly the pride flag at embassies around the world. The action reversed by a decision by the Trump administration, which rejected requests by the embassy to raise their flagpoles during the month of June, which in the United States and many other countries is Pride Month. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken had authorized U.S. diplomatic missions across the world to fly the rainbow pride flag on the same pole as the American flag at embassies and consulates, according to a State Department cable reviewed by the New York Times. So that was then, this is now. Right now, we're saying hell no with that, and that's just the beginning of it. So Trump is also setting up, for those sneaky people out there, he's setting up a tip line. Let's see, where's this one? Got this whole giant list of articles. Let me decipher this real quick. Where did this thing go? Here we go. Here we go. OMB creates. Is this not it? Oh yeah. OPM creates email account to report suspected diversity and inclusion initiatives. So they're saying they might be sneaky and try to replace the DEI stuff with something with just a different name. So let's see. How deep is this thing going to go? The Office of Personal Management has created a new email account meant to collect reports of suspected diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives. One of a series of moves to the Trump administration has taken to slash DEI efforts across the federal workforce. According to a January 21st memo available online, OPM directed agencies which are now engaged in the process of shutting down diversity initiatives to collect reports of any efforts to disguise such initiatives. Quote, we are aware of efforts by some in government to disguise these programs by using coded or imprecise language. An appendix in the memo states, quote, if you are aware of a change in any contract description or personal position description since November 5th, 2024, to obscure the connection between the contract of the DEIA or similar ideologies, please report all facts and circumstances to DEIAtruth.opm.gov within the next 10 days. Failure to report such activities could result in adverse consequences, the appendix notes. An employee at one federal agency confirmed to FedScoop that they were told in an email to report potential diversity initiatives, while FedScoop viewed an email sent to an employee at a different federal agency that said the same. Nice, across the freaking board. A FedScoop email to the DEIA Truth OPM.gov account did not bounce back, indicating it is likely operational. Also mentioned in this memo is that employees from DEI offices employees from DEI offices who are placed on administrative leave will continue to receive pay and benefits, but are not expected to perform work-related tasks or come into the office during their leave. Additionally, workers' email addresses will be suspended. OPM declined to comment. So they are not messing around with this stuff, not one bit. What do you guys think of this? I mean, I don't imagine a single one of you is upset about this. And then we had the lady from the Coast Guard that everybody's freaked out about that. Well, I guess everybody on the left is pissed off about that she got canned, but that's been a disaster. Let me read some comments here. And the goat voted to idiot back into power in Melbourne. I need to get out of this hell soon. Oh, the sheep voted to the idiot back into power in Melbourne. I know. Wait, where's Melbourne? Oh, yeah, Australia. Man, I don't know. I'd say, yeah, you probably do need to run away. But at the same time, I want so badly for a strong leader to rise up in Australia. Like, you guys telling me there's not a single strong person who could rise up and captivate the nation in Australia? And by the way, Misty, if you're still in the chat, I was talking to Amy before saying that you said there's a lot of based chicks in Australia and that I should go there and check it out. And Amy said, and she's like, wow, really? I never met any of them. So is she lying? Is she not seeing enough of them? What? Do I have to have Amy on and have her make her case and then have you make your case? Yes, smash that like button. Man, you guys are better at the call to actions than I am. Thank you, Miss D. So, Miss D, is Amy wrong? Do I have to have her on here to get called out? STP says, I forgot my Twitter password. I'll post it on my YouTube page. Oh, yeah, guys, if you're on X, hit that follow on my X account, too. I'm trying to build that shit up. Yes, back to common sense. You know, I always do this. I always end up reading the comments from like most recent to further away, but I'm going to switch that around because it ends up messing things up. Let's see. How far back should I go? No, it's not my birthday to shut down that rumor. We got 8 days, 9 days. Where is it? It's my birthday. Not excited about this one. New decade, 30s decade. Thank you. Yeah, it was a great Unusual Suspects podcast today. We had a lot of live viewers on there. We had like 2,000 live viewers. How long do you guys think until we have 2,000 live viewers on here? Next week? We just need like one thing to take off and then we'll get there. Because I noticed like the people who watch, you guys stick around, but we just got to get one to pop. The 30s rock. Lately, kind of. Oh, come on. So either replay this or replay Bible study tonight. Not gonna get in between that one. All right, so let's go next. This what is it? We have this architecture bill, this architecture executive order. So check this thing out. Trump created an executive order to make architecture beautiful again. I think that's a beautiful thing. Look at this from who's this from? Whitehouse.gov. From whitehouse.gov, Trump signs executive order to, let me pull this up. Here we go. Promoting beautiful federal civic architecture. January 20, 2025. Memorandum for the Administration of General Services. Subject, promoting beautiful federal civic architecture. I hereby direct the administrator of the General Services Administration in consultation with the Assistant to the President for Domestic Policy and the heads of departments and agencies of the United States where necessary to submit to me within 60 days recommendations to advance the policy that federal public buildings should be visually identifiable as civic buildings and respect regional, traditional, and classical architectural heritage in order to uplift and beautify public spaces and what the hell's that word? Ennoble? Should that be enable? And ennoble the United States in our system of self-government. Such recommendations shall consider appropriate revisions to the guiding principles for federal architecture and procedures for incorporating community input into federal buildings design selections. If before such recommendations are submitted, the Administrator of General Services Administration proposes to approve a design for a new federal public building that diverges from the policy set forth in this memorandum, the administrator shall notify me through the Assistant to the President for Domestic Policy, not less than 30 days before the General Services. So you get the point. So buildings not been like something to brag about lately. Like we have. Let me pull up a picture of just civic buildings in DC. So let's look at examples of nice buildings and not nice buildings. I mean, obviously, Capitol Hill, that's an example of a nice civic building, like something that looks like it's, you do important shit in there. Right. And then I heard Glenn Beck mention what the hell was it? The former FBI director, not Hoover, original FBI director. Yeah, J. Edgar Hoover. Hoover building. Yeah, so like, look at that. So that's what we're talking about. That's an ugly building. And then this is a beautiful building. So we don't get stuff like that anymore. Like there's two schools of thought. There's a school of thought that says we just have less talented architects, that we're not prioritizing things like architecture and engineering anymore. And like, we're not building things with civic pride. And then there's another school of thought that this is an intentional thing that's being done to make things feel less special and like erode national pride. Because let's see, Soviet Union buildings. Perfect example. So this is what shit looks like in a depressing communist country, like where everything looks the same. There's nothing special and significant about things. Let's see. What was the Stalin government building? Palace of the Soviets. Stalin's architect by Dion Shijir review. So yeah, I mean, like it's not something that a lot of people think about, but the way you build things and the way that things look, it's like, I mean, it's what is it? I was listening to Glenn Beck before, and he said that Thomas Jefferson said that if you want your culture and your values and things to live beyond you, like if you want your country to have long lasting values and culture and things that you care about, like, and be prideful of your country, like you have to build things that you're proud of. Let's see, Washington, DC. Best buildings. Or, I should say most beautiful buildings. DC's top 10 must-see sites for architecture lovers. Okay. Boom. National Museum of African American History. Shut up. I don't even know. Are these good examples? Why is it showing up? Okay, yeah. Lincoln Memorial. There you go. Library of Congress. There you go. Why is it showing all shit from the inside? It put Department of Housing and Urban Development. This is an ugly ass building. All right. Not a good source. 0 for 1. All right. Yeah. Union Station. I'll give that a pass. You waving at me? What's up? You want to get in here or what? I'm in the middle of architecture. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Like, what's like stands out to you as like a sick building that you're actually have like that you're actually proud of that we have as a country? Where's this thing? All right, so we got Union Station. I guess, yeah. So we haven't built cool shit in a while. Like, yeah, Washington Monument, Jefferson Memorial, yeah. But like the stuff we built today, like looks exactly the same, and it doesn't need to be that way. So this is one like the maybe top 10 or 20 things I'm excited about. Now I didn't even hear about it before today, but like this is a big deal. This is like stuff that's gonna like carry us forward and like be something that people who are born 100 years from now in America are proud about. So super underrated thing, but like it shows you like how much time Trump spent thinking about what's important. Let's see. I have something here, I think. No, not yet. I don't know. What do you guys think about this one? Like, do you think this is a big deal, or this is like not even a top 20 thing? Because I'm not gonna lie, this is something I wasn't even thinking about at all until I heard about it today. Let's see. What are you guys saying? I know, Humberto. Those are leftist buildings. They try to make everything look the same. If you want to talk, get in here.
Microphone on?
Yes.
All right.
Chat. Let me know if you can hear Humberto.
Hello?
Hello?
Can Chad hear me?
Let's see.
All right, Brandon.
Do mic check.
Hello, hello?
Nope. Nobody can hear you.
Hello, hello? Is it on red or is it I can hear myself. Maybe you have the wrong audio device.
Oh, yeah, now they can hear you.
All right.
Jason, you're just talking shit. You're trying to troll me?
Who?
Jason said no.
All
Miss
right.
D said yes. I trust Miss D. She said it's faint, though.
All right, Brandon. This is incredibly important. All right.
Yeah, architecture.
But what they're trying to achieve with architecture, Brandon.
Yeah, making it beautiful.
But what they were doing is called modernist that is from the Russian, or the Bauhaus school. So they're trying to strip every human, thing out of buildings. If you notice buildings,
We
all
mean
buil-
every human thing, like everything that makes it unique.
no, everything that is human or natural or organic. If you see beautiful, buildings like the Capitol building, you have organic shapes, you have decoration, and you have things that make the building look great. All right.
Yeah,
Because
it's aesthetically pleasing.
no, it's more than that. It's worshiping nature and God when you build a building. All right.
Hmm.
And in order to make everyone equal, they strip everything.
Right.
If you see like the CIA building, all these new buildings, they strip everything because they want to make you feel equal and uncomfortable. All right. And the other thing, it deletes the legacy of societies, Brandon.
Right.
All right. Because the first buildings that we saw, and the other thing that they need to bring back, if you can look it up to show it there,
Hmm.
is the only American architectural style that is Art Nouveau or Art Deco.
Art Deco.
Yeah. I give you a great example of that. The Empire State Building, that's a great example of Art Deco architecture.
Are you looking at the screen right now?
No, I'm not.
Yeah, I pulled up typed in Art Deco, and yeah, these buildings do look sick.
That's the only example of actual American architecture. It's an architectural movement that was born in America. Same with the Central Station building. You already talked about it.
Right.
And we need to go back to that.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I guess the only question would be like, is it more difficult to build things like that now because of the lack of emphasis that we put on things like that? But I don't think so. It's just a matter of like, there are some really nice buildings, but they're not built with stone like that. They're built like, actual skyscrapers. I mean, is it more of a political thing, or is it more of a capability thing, or like a feasibility thing?
Well, Brandon, it's a political statement. We're trying to build everything as cheap as possible. We're trying to build something, use it for a little bit, destroy it. And all these leftists, they never think about the future, or they never think about where you're gonna leave behind. Like these guys, Brandon, they wouldn't steal money at the level that they steal. They wouldn't destroy our society at the level that they destroy our society if they were trying to leave something behind for future generations. Am I wrong?
No, 100%.
All right. So it's a political statement that it shows everywhere. Like all the government waste, all the policies, guys being women, women being men, and buildings that they are going to be used and demolished. You're not leaving anything behind for the next generation.
Right. Yeah, no, because I mean, what's the exact quote? I'll look it up quick, but Thomas Jefferson said something like, if you want your society, or if you want the culture of your nation to live on, then you have to build things that they're not only proud of, but that could be recognized. Because I don't know, like, is the Kremlin a fairly new building? Like, because I was going to say, during Soviet Union times, I mean, how many recognizable buildings did they have? Or like same thing during the Maoist times, how many buildings did you have, like, where you could show somebody, they're like, oh yeah, that's the so-and-so building where we do this building's for that. Like, that's probably one of those subconscious things that's like a much bigger deal than people make it out to be.
If I'm not mistaken, the Kremlin, Brandon,
Mm-hmm.
it predates the Soviet Union by hundreds of years.
Are you sure about that?
100%.
Let's see. I'm gonna type that in.
All right.
When was
It must have
the-
been built in like 14 something.
All right, I have a bunch of dates here. Let's see. I'll share the screen.
The Kremlin, Brandon, it used to be a palace. Like it goes against every rule of Soviet architecture.
Okay.
When was it built, Brandon? I just want to know, be right on camera.
The what? Why do I hear a buzzing, by the way? It said 1485 through 1516.
See, when was the Russian Revolution, Brandon?
1917.
All right, not even close.
I know. Yeah.
And,
Wow, it looks new as fuck though. It's crazy.
well, because it's been well kept. Because when you build a beautiful building that shows your culture,
I'm surprised they didn't destroy it.
oh, they couldn't. It was way too important historically. You need to understand that the Russian communist movement that I don't really want to get into the details. The brute force of the people that were behind it, they were nationalists of some kind.
Mm-hmm.
So it's different than now that we have all these communists that are globalist. They still did have some national pride and national unity in the country, so they wouldn't stand for them destroying such a beautiful building.
Like, look at this. So you type in Soviet architecture, and this is the type of shit that comes up. Like, just bleh. Like, it all looks exactly the freaking same. But it's like the equivalent of everybody wearing a mask, or like, not just like a sick mask, but like a full on ski mask, and being forced to walk around like we're like the face, like the people see on you is completely the same as somebody else's face, So it's like you take away like the uniqueness out of things and like the beauty out of things by doing this.
Oh, Brandon, you can even look up, and this is very common on EU buildings and UN buildings, especially in Europe and more liberal cities.
Mm-hmm.
There's a whole trend of globalist, architecture.
You mean globalist architecture?
There is globalist architecture, very heavy on glass, very geometric. It's the opposite of what Western tradition dictates for a building.
Globalist architecture.
Yeah.
So this is like the New York skyscrapers and stuff?
Well, the more modern ones, everything built after 1970.
So globalist architecture has resulted in sameness around the world. Architecture is an important part of our national identity. It is the built representation of people, their heritage, culture, and traditions. Reverse the local. Oh, wait. You guys don't even see what I'm seeing right now. Shoot. So here we go. Whenever I open a new page, it takes me out of the screen share. So yeah, from this tweet here, globalist architecture has resulted in the sameness around the world. Architecture is an important part of our national identity. It is the built representation of a people, their heritage, culture, and traditions. Reverse the local, reject the global. So yeah, here we go. Germany, China, Switzerland, Italy, France, Netherlands, Saudi Arabia, Russia, Indonesia, Japan, Nigeria, UK. All pretty similar looking buildings. And yeah, they do have that kind of blank look to it. Like it's like a sneaky way to do the Soviet Union thing. Like the Soviet Union ones were just like objectively ugly and all looked exactly the same. These ones, like, they're nice looking in a certain way. They're slick, they're shiny, whatever. But yeah, there's just like something that you like feel a certain different type of way when you see stuff like the Capitol building or the Lincoln Monument.
That's where we're getting at. And I think this and I'm glad you covered this, Brandon, because this
important stuff.
But
I have an architect's eye.
No, but it might be one of the most overseen decrees, or executive orders that he signed. But this is the one that has the most tangible impact in the future. All right. And the picture you're showing, you can see that any of those buildings, they could be plugged out of the earth and put somewhere else, and you don't know where they're from. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you take the Lincoln Monument and you put it in China, it will look out of place. If you took the Red Palace of China and you put it in the middle of Washington, it'd be out of place. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
So I don't know. I'm very on board with this. I think it's very important.
Let's see. I'm going to type in, are we capable of rebuilding the Capitol building today? Yes, the U.S. Capitol can be rebuilt. The architect of the U.S. Capitol is completed, and it's currently working on many projects. When was the Capitol building built? Is this pretty recent? Like, what's an example of a building that like we might have a difficult time reproducing today? Like maybe certain churches.
I think we have the capability to rebuild almost everything except the pyramids.
I don't think that's true.
Well, I mean,
I've heard all this stuff about people like we're not able to.
There's some techniques that have been lost to time. Some arc technology to making beautiful arcs. They still can't figure out how Romans made concrete.
Right.
They still can't figure that out. It's still standing right now, Brandon. Like, if you ever been to Italy and you saw the aqueducts of Rome,
yeah,
is something absolutely amazing. And this not only has to do with culture, and it also has a little bit to do with religion.
Oh yeah, no, it's like a spiritual thing. Like you, like no matter how like this, no matter the size of a building, you like totally feel different based off like the layout of a building. Like there's, like for example, if I go into a hotel and there's a carpet on the floor in the hallway and it's like a narrow hallway, like I have like a nasty, icky, like kind of creeped out feeling. But if it's like a big, kind of wide, nice tile floor, shiny, it's like a whole different vibe.
It is.
You know what I mean?
It is, and that's a human element that I'm telling you, Brandon.
Yeah.
That they build spaces that are not fit for humans. They build spaces that have no natural access to the outside. All right.
Right.
You have this massive office buildings that the only entrance of exit of fresh air is just the bottom floor, Brandon.
Right.
So how is that designed with humans in mind? Is they want to keep you inside. They want to keep you under air conditioner. They don't want you to get any sunlight. They don't want you to be comfortable in a place to stay there long, to take pride on the building that you're living. I don't know if we want to introduce your audience to liminal spaces, because I think that's what you were talking about.
I don't know if you guys could handle liminal spaces. Who knows about liminal spaces? I don't want to creep everybody out so close to bedtime.
I know they probably won't sleep after this.
You guys want to know about liminal spaces? I don't want. Namadal. Who's Namadal? If I won the lottery, I'd go visit all the spots.
And talking about
Baalbek.
stupid architecture, while their answer, do you see the line in Saudi Arabia?
The line in Saudi Arabia? What do you mean?
Oh, Brandon, this is the most globalist, retarded thing that it has ever been thought of. All right. They want to build a large building, huge, like miles long, Brandon.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
In the middle of the desert.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And they're going to have like an elevator that goes from one side of the city building. It's a building city to the other side. So every natural resource that you need, seeds, water, like everything that humans, they've been shifting towards, like most of the human civilization started in a riverbed. This is the complete opposite. So you're totally 100% dependent on external forces to survive. Like you don't even have water there. It's the middle of the desert.
Well, Saudi Arabia, it sounds like MBS is doing this thing where he's like super obsessed with, right now, I think 90% of their GDP comes from selling oil. And he's terrified of that. So he's trying desperately to turn them into like basically a tourist economy. Like he's trying to make it cool enough there to make it like a vacation destination. So is this part of that?
Well, the thing is that
like what's the benefit?
It is part of that. They have the 2030 plan in Saudi Arabia.
Yep.
To start shifting their investments towards housing and tourism and becoming an actual business hub, because they fell far behind Dubai. Sheikh Mohammed Al Maktoum bin Zayed, who's the ruler of Dubai.
Yeah.
He was the first one to go like, okay, we're eventually going to run out of oil, have a lot of cash in hand. Let's make the city really cool so everyone that works in the Middle East can live here.
Yeah.
So the things that he did, first of all these incredible buildings, you have the Burj Khalifa, Burj Al Arab, and all these incredible buildings that you see in all the pictures.
Yeah.
Then he made it easy for Westerners to live there. So they're a lot more lenient with people that are born outside of the UAE. You can drink, you can wear a bikini at the beach.
Right. No Sharia law.
There is Sharia law
in Saudi.
Everywhere, like Saudi, Dubai. The United Arab Emirates, Qatar.
But women could drive and they don't have to wear the face cover in Saudi Arabia, though, right?
Women can drive now.
Yeah. So he's been kind of more liberal with the Saudi laws, right?
Yeah, he's been a lot more liberal than his predecessor. But Saudi's still Saudi. There's a lot of things that they won't tolerate. Like me growing up in the Middle East, if I had to raise kids in this world right now,
Mm-hmm.
that's probably where I would raise them.
Saudi.
Uh,
Interesting.
no, or Dubai.
Yeah. What do you think about MBS? Do you think he's smart, or do you think he's over ambitious? Or do you think he thinks he's smarter than he is?
Don't we all, Brandon?
Think that we're smarter than we are?
Yeah.
I think some people think that they're dumber than they are, though.
I think MBS he's very smart. I must tell you. I don't know.
Because he had a lot of competition to get that spot. He had, like, it wasn't just a shoe-in for him to get that role. I think he was competing with like 16 other siblings.
and
Right?
yeah, and that's one of the things why I love monarchy the most.
Mm-hmm.
As you know, how to govern land. I like monarchy more than democracy. Because you get this super, well prepared leaders, right?
Yeah.
This guy went to school, master's degrees. He was trained since he was a child how to be a ruler.
Yeah.
And then
Some of them suck, though. Like some of the people that are in these positions where they are groomed to be the leader.
yes, I mean they're all groomed to be a leader. The next in line for the Dubai crown, Brandon,
Mm-hmm.
Fasa, the son of Sheikh Mohammed, he is literally a real life James Bond.
Really?
Oh, Brandon, you can
Let's
pull
see.
videos
What's his
of
name?
just look for Fasa, Faza, Dubai. Man, he be like literally jumping out of a plane at 10 in the morning, going to a business meeting, doing some diplomacy, and ending the day racing his car.
Man, he must slay.
He does slay. That's him.
Let's see. I typed in Faza fighting. What should I type in to get like a cool video of him?
Put skydiving. But yeah, these people are no joke. Because the thing, I love this.
Uh-huh.
All right, see, that's the Crown Prince of Dubai just skydiving.
Wow.
Nah, I mean, there's something else. But that's the thing, Brandon.
They're not all like that, though.
I mean, the ruling class, it is. They all have master's degrees and doctorates.
But like, tell me something impressive about like the UK crown family.
It used to be impressive, Brandon. It used to be very, very impressive.
When?
Back when it started. But they got lazy.
Yeah, that's the thing, that they get complacent.
Yeah, and the beauty about a monarchy, Brandon, you know how you take a monarchy out?
How?
You cut their head off. So if someone is messing up as a monarch, they're worried that their head will roll.
Yeah, I mean, if you get the population against them, then yeah, they're in trouble.
They are in trouble. And it's also a thing about pride, Brandon. Like they take pride on taking care of their people. Like my experience in Dubai was absolutely incredible. Like everything that the Sheikh announced, it was done under budget, under time.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, Steve P said, let's do it with liminal spaces. So I guess we should talk about that quick and scare the shit out of everybody.
All right. Get creepy. Do you have some of them?
Oh, I could get some. So how I guess I would describe liminal spaces as it's just like a hotel lobby or a empty park. Like it's basically, let's see, what's the definition of it? Let me share this screen so you guys are all in for the terror. What was the guy's name that made the really creepy video about it? He has like, you know that YouTube channel I'm talking about?
Oh yeah, that guy makes some really creepy content.
Yeah, and he makes it like realistic looking. So liminal space is a transitional state or place that can be physical, physiological, or psychological. It can refer to a space that appears empty, abandoned, or eerie. So that's really the thing. It's like an empty, eerie space.
Yeah, it's a place that is familiar. So you will look at it and you're like, oh man, that could have been something from my childhood. Like I was sitting there waiting, or I went to that mall, or I've been
Right.
to that airport. But at the same time, if you look at it empty, it looks very foreign.
Right. Like it's like looks like slightly familiar, but at the same time, you're like, no, I haven't been there.
Yeah, I know. It's
So are you looking at the screen right now?
I am looking at the screen.
So that literally looks like the courtyard in anybody's apartment,
It does.
but not completely.
Yeah, it's an apartment I've been to, but it's not.
D1.
Yeah,
Then this one looks like a hotel that or a motel I've stayed at, multiple times, but not that one.
yeah, and then it makes you question your sanity, like,
Right.
and
Then-
you start thinking, are we in a matrix?
Yeah. Then this looks like, I don't know, like an office building that you're either moving into or moving out of. And the key thing with this too is that like the way that it's like set up is intentionally like geometrically like off from what it should be. Right? That's one of the things too.
It makes me so uneasy.
Yeah. Like this one, you could like see like the patterns of it don't make sense.
Oh man, for me, malls,
Ugh.
like, empty malls are the worst.
Yeah. Like, well, the weird thing now is that like malls usually are empty when you go there, which is creepy and kind of sad at the same time. Like, I don't know, were you ever a big fan of malls?
I mean, in my teenage years, it was the thing to do, Brandon.
Same.
You know,
You're a little older than me, but I still caught the tail end of the mall era.
yeah. I mean, we could have gone to high school together, but
No.
What do you mean no?
What are you, like 35?
No, I'm 34. I'm the
All right,
youngest man
I'm
alive.
29.
Huh?
You're the youngest man alive.
Yeah,
This isn't the height argument.
dude. Until I have a kid, I'm the youngest man alive.
So I don't think we would have been in high school at the same time. I'm 29.
All right, I miss you by 1 year, but
Yeah.
but still, we were teenagers at the same time.
So malls were like closing down by the time I was in high school.
I got the last tail of
You
going.
did,
to
and
the
then
mall.
Amazon came along.
Yeah, no, I mean,
Because when did you graduate high school? In like 2007?
2008.
That's literally the year that like all the tech stuff started happening.
Yeah. Like I remember if you like the girl, you'd be like, hey, let's meet at the mall.
Yes.
Because it wasn't like a date, but your friends will be there, her friends will be there, hang out at the
See, that's like so old to me. Like that's like nostalgic, but it's never happened before because it's like a liminal memory where the idea of hanging out with friends at the mall because the mall is the place to be never happened because that time had passed already by the time I was in high school of people like hanging out at the mall. But one mall in particular had a movie theater there, so that was a thing for a little bit. But I kind of wish I caught that era where malls were the place to hang out because it seems like it was like they were just the coolest places before online stores happened.
you when I hear something like a funny fact, I mean funny, it's not funny, it's like kind of sad.
What?
The guy, I don't know what his name is, the guy that invented malls,
Les Wexner?
he like his biggest regret is coming up with the idea for the mall.
Really?
Yeah, he said it.
Les Wexner or is it a different guy?
I don't know I don't know the name of the guy.
Guy who created
The mall
malls.
and regretted it.
Well, I think about this a lot. So Victor David Gruen, is this him? Gruen, an Australian-American architect, is known for designing the first modern shopping malls in the United States. He later came to regret his creation, expressing disgust at how malls contributed to urban sprawl. Urban sprawl meaning like people urbanizing.
Yeah, meaning people living further away from each other.
You mean closer together?
Sprawl is the same as spread, right?
I'm thinking of it like he's saying that people urbanize, mean like what happened in China, where people went from living like on farms to living in the city.
Yeah, and you've been to Europe. The lifestyle when you had shops and you walked around was different than going to the mall.
Yeah,
They call this third spaces, Brandon.
places like the mall or places outside of home
Places
in the
like
mall?
the mall, places like Starbucks, places where you would spend a considerable amount of time in.
That weren't work or home.
Yeah,
Mm,
that is not private nor public.
yeah, interesting. So what do you think we do with all the malls? Because I not that I intended to talk about this, but I'm the type to like generate questions in my head once we start talking about things. Like, what do you think is the best way to make use of all these massive, really pretty nice buildings that like were malls at one point, but now like you go in the mall, half the stores are closed, right? So what do you think is like the smartest thing for like an investor to come in and do with the mall? Because like I bet you could buy a mall for pretty cheap compared to it's like what the price was 20 years ago. Like not like the exact like I'm talking on adjusted for inflation terms.
Well, actually, Elon Musk spoke about the devaluation of commercial real estate.
Yeah.
Banks used to, it was a very firm asset.
Right. And that's part of the commercial real estate bubble that's happening.
Yeah, and it's gone. I mean, in my personal opinion, and I think there was a few weeks ago, like video thing. I mean, it was like a little news piece of a mall somewhere that they turned into apartments.
It's tough to do that though because of the way they're built.
It is tough to do that the way they're built. But I don't know. I think the more realistic option is for them to evade to our Amazon overlords and turn them into distribution centers.
Yeah. Shit. How many Amazon distribution centers do you think there are in the country right now?
Hundreds of thousands. Nah, I don't
No,
know
it's a
how
lot.
many.
Probably thousands.
Probably at least 20,000.
185 globally.
That's all. That's it.
Yeah, Amazon has 185 fulfillment centers globally, including more than 100 in the United States.
I thought it would be more. I was so
I
off.
mean, they're insanely massive. So I know in my home state there's one, and then like I feel like every state has like one or two.
See in the chat here, Laura says that Amazon actually bought the old mall in her area.
That makes sense.
I mean, it's perfect.
Yeah, because like I said, you can't really turn them into apartments because of the way that they're built. Because a lot of the like space inside of it, like it'd be set up like a jail almost, where there's no windows, and you want to have like windows. What is it? Office buildings and malls, because of the engineering or the architecture of it, like it's tough to convert that into real estate unless people are okay with not having windows.
I mean, people right now, Brandon, are so desperate for housing that I don't think it's a big problem.
Misty says, Brand, need to jump out, heading to the baby spy. We'll email you in the next hour or so with info. Also, Amy is not right or wrong. Aussie based bitches exist. Stay safe. Blessed job. Misty, thank you. You're the best. And I will talk to you later. Peace. Steffi Steph says the mall Stranger Things was pretty cool. I know, it's such a nostalgic thing. Yeah, so Humberto, I think it's a creepy thing. I think that like it was already an unfortunate thing, like the way, like kind of what a part of what malls did to society, but then now like this online thing, it's like setting us in the opposite direction in another weird way.
I'm a big advocate to go back to single stores.
But that's kind of forcing the market to do something, though. Like I don't think you could try to dictate what the market does just for the sake of culture.
No, but come on, there's a butcher shop here. I love going to it. I don't know, like guitar stores and Radio Shack and very specific stores are my favorite thing. Like, matter of fact, my favorite restaurants, Brandon, are the one item restaurants.
What are you talking about?
I when I walk into a store or restaurant, I like them to do one thing.
Like specialize.
Yeah. Like for example, we have Dandy Donuts here in Fort Lauderdale. I love those guys.
But they have a lot of different things there. Like they have you could get a steak, you could get bacon, egg, and cheese.
But you go there for the donuts. It's in the name. There's this other place called Guy Rice and Chicken, and they do rice and chicken.
It's a great place.
I love it when they state their mission and you go there.
Yeah. Just like perfect one thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I know Amazon's master of nothing but jack of all trades. All right. You got anything else on malls, or you want to hit the next thing quick?
It's your show, Brandon. I'm just.
I know.
taking-
I was seeing if you had anything good to say about malls aside from that. Pete Hegseth's ex-wife's sister-in-law. This is probably the most annoying thing that I saw all day. So if you guys didn't, who saw this, by the way? Pete Hegseth, his ex-wife, I think it's ex-wife number 2. His ex-wife's sister-in-law is starting shit now, like against the will of his ex-wife. All right, so here we go. Senators receive. Wait, let me share the screen. All right. Senators receive affidavit containing new allegations against Pete Hegseth, who denies the claims. The former sister-in-law of Trump's defense secretary Pick said that Hegseth made his second wife fear for her life. The Hegseth's second wife said, quote, "There was no physical abuse in my marriage." So the the wife that's involved in this claim is not the one who's saying it. It's her sister that's just coming out of nowhere, talking to the media, saying like, "Oh no, trust me." Even though she's saying that she didn't fear for her life, she was fearing for her life. And I just can't sit back and watch this guy be confirmed to this powerful position because I know what that was actually happening. And her, like, Pete Hegseth's ex-wife said, "All right, listen, bitch, this is my marriage, not any of your business. I'm CCing my lawyer in this email. Stop talking about my former marriage. Stop making claims on my behalf. It's not true, and I'm going to sue you if you keep doing this." So this is crazy. And if senators even, give this a time of day, it's crazy. But like the fact that the media is picking this up and talking about it is crazy. Like, think about Kamala Harris's husband, who there's the claim that he might have smacked some lady in the face or something that was flirting with what was it, not Uber driver, valet.
Yeah.
Right? Nobody talked about that. It was just people like us talking about that. But they're willing to listen to, like, imagine if you're imagine you have an ex-wife and she's on your side, her sister is trying to talk shit like about you on her behalf, while the sister that she's saying that was the victim is saying, "No, I wasn't the victim. Stop fucking talking."
I mean, do we have a picture of this lady? If you show me a picture, it tell you everything that I need to know.
Yeah, probably should have started with that. Let's see. What's her name? Sister-in-law, yeah, Danielle. Former sister-in-law, Danielle Hegseth. Wait, why is...
I was wondering. I was reading the article. Like, why do we have the same name?
Yeah. Doesn't make sense. The former sister-in-law, Danielle Hegseth, submitted the affidavit. That makes no sense.
It makes no sense. Like, you don't... I mean...
Like, even the ex-wife shouldn't still have his last name. Why does her sister have his name?
I mean, she could keep the last name.
But she wasn't married to him.
No. The wife could keep the last
Right,
name. But
yeah.
the sister has nothing to
That
do
makes
with
no
him.
sense. All right, let's see from... Oh, wait, let me do...
Unless there was a coincidence that they both had...
I thought about that too, but that'd be bizarre.
I mean, she must have the same maiden name. I don't know, Brandon. It's very confusing.
By the way, do you hear a buzzing?
No, I don't.
Okay. Chat, let me know if you hear a buzzing. I do, but I could take it if you're not hearing it. Images of Danielle Hegseth. Just Pete comes up. Let's see if I type in Pete Hegseth, sister-in-law. Is this the sister-in-law? Maybe. Show your face, lady.
I mean, how would you know?
How what?
How would you know?
So I think the New York Times is the one who broke this. Let's see if they got anything. Hegseth's ex-sister-in-law tells senators he was abusive to second wife, a woman once married to the brother of Pete Hegseth. Wait, what? Oh, wait. So she was Hegseth's brother's wife, not his sister's, not his ex-wife's sister. Is that it? All right.
Okay, so
That makes more
so
sense.
The lady making the claim. Oh wow, this changes the whole story. The
Slightly.
the lady making the claim
Was married to his brother at one
was
point.
married to his brother, so she
Could still have the last name.
was the sister-in-law of the girl that he divorced.
Wait. Right, no, but she was still a sister-in-law.
Yeah, she was still a sister-in-law.
Yeah, okay. So a woman once married to the brother of Pete Hegseth, the defense secretary nominee, submitted a sworn statement to the Senate in a late-hour complication to his confirmation. His lawyer denied her account. An ex-sister-in-law, Pete Hegseth, submitted a sworn statement to the Senate Tuesday that accused Mr. Hegseth of being so abusive toward his second wife that she once hid in a closet from him and had a safe word to call for help if she needed to get away from him. Oh my God. In a Capitol Hill office Tuesday afternoon, senators were reviewing an affidavit from Danielle Dietrich Hegseth, the former wife of Mr. Hegseth's brother, which described erratic and aggressive behavior by Mr. Hegseth that caused his second wife to fear for her safety, according to a copy obtained by the New York Times. It also asserts that he frequently drank to excess, both in public and private, including on one occasion she witnessed when he was wearing his military uniform. Shut up. The allegations, which Mr. Hegseth denied through his lawyer, surfaced as Republicans were working to speed him through confirmation and couldn't imperil that push. About a half dozen Republicans who have learned of the accusations in recent days have privately raised serious concerns. Let's see. I want to see what his ex-wife said about this. Senator John Thune, Republican of South Dakota, and the majority leader, began taking necessary steps to limit debate and schedule an up or down vote within days, effectively of closing any avenue for senators to investigate the investigation. And all Republicans voted to keep the nomination on track. Good. Let's see what his wife said. Control F. Mr. Hegseth described other various allegations as anonymous smears, blah, blah, blah. I'm not the perfect person. Got it. Do they even have the decency to cover if his wife responded to this or not?
Oh no, it's always half truth, half stories.
That's so
There's
crazy.
very fine people on both sides, Brandon.
So, like I said before, I thought this was his wife's sister, but it's not even that. Like, so with that already would have been like, okay, you're not involved in the situation. You're not at liberty to speak on it if the person who is the alleged victim isn't speaking on it and saying something different than you. This is even more distant. Like, even if it was her sister, that'd be crazy. But this is her sister-in-law who was married to her ex-husband's brother.
Yeah, I mean, but they always find someone to talk shit, Brandon.
I know, but like this makes it even weaker than we thought.
Well, but Sid, okay, how many Republicans do you have in the Senate?
53,
Yes. How many Democrats do you have in the Senate?
47.
All right.
Mhm.
So would it take a lot, even if it's a lie or a half truth?
No.
There's a six senator difference for him to go through or not.
Right.
All right.
So my question is, what measures can Trump take if somebody gives him a hard time and they don't pass him?
Oh, he can give them a hell. He can show.
Can you give him an executive order to push him through?
No, he can't.
You sure about that?
Not 100% sure.
I feel like he can. It's like, what if he declares that we're in a state of emergency for XYZ and we need to get him in for XYZ and those two things coexist?
Is it worth it though, Brandon?
Yes. Because, see, a lot of people might disagree with me on this, but I'm still deeply disappointed that Matt Gaetz gave up on becoming Attorney General and that Pam Bondi's in there instead of him. Like, I'm sure she'll do fine. She's not going to defy Trump or anything, but I think we need somebody who's like ruthlessly savage for that position, who's ready to just rain down hell on the people that we need to rain hell upon. And I don't know if she's got the viciousness to do that, like in the way that, like, we need somebody who's like devout, will do anything that Trump says to do. And I don't know if she's going to do that.
Well, we'll need to wait and see.
Well, yeah, obviously, but that's my feeling on the attorney general thing. So we can't lose the most savage person we have for what needs to get done for the military too.
I mean, I like Pete a lot. I said it a bunch of times. I think he's great. Probably one of the most qualified guys to do the job. But at the same time, I would have picked unknown savages.
Unknown?
Yes. Someone that only I know and the very like intimate circle knows that he's 100% savage. Because the thing is, you need to know how the media works, Brandon.
Pete does.
Pete does because he worked there.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that's a blessing and a curse. Like it takes him a little bit of time to introduce someone to the public because they need to make someone famous before they can destroy him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they need to like create a story around him.
Yeah. So it would have taken them a longer time to create the profile of an unknown savage than destroying the profile of a known savage. You know what I mean?
But if they're unknown, how is Trump even supposed to know if he's going to do what needs to be done?
Oh, I mean, he has access to like a big circle. Like, for example, I think Kash Patel is lesser known, and they're going to have a harder time getting rid of him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel like they're gonna give him a hard time on that one too. But quite honestly, I think we're in a place where you just like executive order these people all through. I'm gonna type that in quick.
Yeah, because I declare myself ignorant. I don't think that they can.
If the Senate rejects Trump's cabinet nominees, can he still appoint them? Is there any possible legal method like an executive order? Let's see what the chatbot says. All right. Can Trump appoint cabinet nominees if the Senate rejects them? No, the president cannot unilaterally appoint cabinet nominee if the Senate rejects them. However, there are legal loopholes that a president can use to bypass Senate confirmation and still install a preferred candidate. Recess appointments. The Constitution, Article 2, Section 2, Clause 3 allows the president to make temporary appointments without Senate confirmation if the Senate is in recess. These recess appointments last until the end of next Senate session, potentially up to 2 years. How it works: if the Senate takes an official recess of 10 days, the president can temporarily install nominees. This was used by Obama 2012, Bush 2005 to appoint officials that Congress opposed. However, the Senate can block this by holding pro forma sessions, brief meetings every few days. 2. Executive orders, not for cabinet positions. The president cannot use executive orders to bypass Senate rejections of cabinet nominees. Executive orders can create new positions or advisory roles, but they cannot appoint officials to Senate confirmed roles. Number 3, naming a nominee as an acting secretary workaround. Under the Federal Vacancies Reform Act of 1998, the president can temporarily fill a position with an acting secretary for up to 210 days. Example, Trump uses loophole multiple times. For example, Chad Wolf as acting DHS secretary. Caveat, the person must already hold a senior position in the department or be Senate confirmed for a role. So that's calling them like a temporary person instead of a full-time person in the position?
Yes.
Okay. Number 4, re-nominating the rejected candidate. The president can resubmit the same nominee and try to negotiate with the Senate. If opposition is based on policy disagreements, Trump could offer concessions to get the nominee approved. 5, creating a new advisory role, alternative power mode. If the nominee is blocked, the president can create a new advisory position outside the cabinet. Example, John Bolton was blocked as UN ambassador. Good. So Bush made him a special advisory on foreign policy. Oh, geez. This doesn't give the same authority as a cabinet position, but keeps the person in the administration. Or you could do like what the Venezuelan government did, where like you put somebody like harmless looking in that position and say like, hey, here's your job to listen to every single thing that fucking Pete Hegseth says because he's the real Secretary of Defense. You're just a puppet. You'll be famous. You'll be able to get a job at Raytheon after you're done with this, but you don't make a single independent thought or decision yourself. It's all Pete Hegseth. Like imagine his arm up your ass controlling you as a puppet.
I would take the job.
Exactly. Somebody out there would.
Hand up my ass. As much as I love Pete, it's not my thing.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, there's somebody out there that would take that job. And then if he disobeys you, then you fire him.
That's what it is.
Yeah. So I think Trump's creative enough to work around any nonsense. But I mean, if they had the freaking audacity to reject this guy, what do you imagine the Senate ratio would be if Trump wasn't the candidate? Like if we just had a freaking, I don't know, Jeb Bush or Chris Christie or
Energy Jeb,
Marco Rubio or what's her name, Nikki Haley as the Republican nominee. Like, what do you think the ratio would be between Democrat and Republican senators?
Dude, Nikki Haley, man. I think she would have been worse than Kamala.
Imagine them two facing off. That was the plan, I think, if Trump actually got whacked.
But Nikki Haley?
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Oh no, man.
I mean, oh no.
That they don't have the goal to do that.
I mean, she would give them everything they want.
Man, that would have been bad.
Like they're so stupid, it's mind blowing. I remember seeing leaked emails from Paul Ryan when he was the Mike Johnson of back in the day when he was Speaker of the House. There were leaked emails where they were trying to do like a last minute power grab where they took Trump off the ticket and made and they wanted to make what's his name, his useless vice president. Wow, he's so useless. I forgot his name already. What was Trump's vice president's name?
Mike Pence.
Right. They wanted to take Trump off the ticket, put Pence as the president, put Paul Ryan as the VP, and say, this is the ticket of having Trump without Trump. Because they thought they were so stupid that they thought that they would get a net more votes that way because people just like Trump's policies, but they didn't like him. As if Mike Pence could fucking exercise the Trump policies.
It would be a cold day in hell.
Yeah, like more than half the magic with Trump is like he's just such a good negotiator. I mean, the something I meant to show today is this TikTok thing that I love. Like nobody heard about this, but or nobody was even thinking from this perspective. But like, what a freaking way to negotiate that he's doing this with. Let me see. I'll pull up this video quick. Let's see. Here we go.
Members of your team now used to warn about the dangers of TikTok spying on Americans. What changed that you're not worried about that anymore?
Well, it depends on the deal. I mean, I may not do the deal or I may do the deal. TikTok is worthless. Worthless if I don't approve it. It has to close. I learned that from the people that own it. If I don't do the deal, it's worthless. Worth nothing. If I do the deal, it's worth maybe $1 trillion. $1 trillion.
That's a big difference.
So if I do the deal I'm talking about doing it for the United States. If I do the deal for the United States, then I think we should get half.
The TikTok CEO,
In other words, I think
Wait.
the U.S. should be entitled to get half of TikTok. And congratulations, TikTok has a good partner. And that would be worth, could be $500 billion or something. It's crazy. The numbers are crazy. But it's worthless if the president doesn't sign, then it's worthless. If the president does sign, it's worth maybe $1 trillion. So I think, like a joint venture, I think we would have a joint venture with the people from TikTok. We'll see what happens. I mean, that's one of many ideas I've had.
So two things there. I mean, one, like, how's that for negotiation? You saying, I'm like, all right, yeah, you could have a worthless company, or you could be worth $500 billion. I mean, you decide. I don't know. I don't want to twist your arm or anything, but like, those are your options. And then two, is he asking, or is he proposing that the U.S. government hold ownership over TikTok?
That's what it sounds like, but I don't think. I think it's talking about an American company or entrepreneur like I don't know, Mark Zuckerberg or Jeff Bezos, someone like that. Maybe, right?
I hope so, because that's not something that we do here.
What, owning companies?
Yeah, as the government, at least not that overtly. I know we own companies like in a like subliminal, covert way, but like they have the decency to just like not go out there and say it.
I mean, UPS, is that a company?
Yeah, the government. I guess they consider it an essential service, so that's why they do it.
I mean, they have employees, they have a logo.
So you want, yeah, it's kind of a disaster though. But I mean, yeah. I was gonna say it's not as powerful as TikTok, but at one point it was. Like the Mail was like the TikTok of the day at one point.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't like it.
You don't like that he's entertaining the idea of it? I mean, I like all these billions of dollars that he has flowing there. Like every other day, he has a guy coming on saying, like, yeah, this bank is committed to investing like X amount $1 billion into America. I'm like, oh yeah, this company is building factories into America and they're going to invest $1 billion XYZ. Oh yeah, we have this initiative. Like, you know, every day he has a new thing that's bringing billions of dollars to America. So that's a good thing, you know. And I mean, when I looked up how much TikTok was worth, it said 84 billion. I think he's highballing it with $1 trillion, but you know, I could see how he's a good negotiator, and like that's an X factor that nobody else is going to have. Like nobody else he was competing with, at least.
I mean, but still, like, can you understand that? Thinking of like state ownership of TikTok makes me queasy.
Yeah, big time.
You know,
no, 100%.
Because I don't think that's what we do here in America.
It's not. You want to see a funny one? So this is his negotiating tactic, which it's kind of similar to this, and he always tries to give the carrot instead of the stick first. Like, you know, if you're a country who's run by terrorists and war torn and not doing so well, he has like a habit of going out and saying like, oh yeah, I mean, like it's brutal there right now, but like they could be doing really good because of this, and like they could be making a lot of money and they could be building apartments there. Like he always tells Kim Jong-un to go start to focus on building apartments on the beach instead of building rockets. But here's what he said about Gaza the other day, and I never heard this angle about Gaza before.
Gaza is interesting. It's a phenomenal location on the sea. Best weather, you know, everything's good. It's like some beautiful things could be done with it, but
it makes everything sound good.
But some fantastic things could be done with Gaza.
How do you see the future in governance for Gaza?
Well, it depends. I can't imagine you could have. Well, you certainly can't have the people that were there. Most of them are dead, by the way, right? Most of them are dead, but they didn't exactly run it well. Run viciously and badly. So you can't have that.
Have you ever heard anybody else in the world talk about Gaza's real estate value or potential?
Nah.
Like talk about turning lemons into lemonade.
I mean, but did he lie at any point?
No, it's 100% true. Like Gaza is like, here, I'll pull it up on the map.
I mean, I think it's a very creative rephrasing of it.
Yeah, no, it's completely new perspective. Look. He's 100% right.
Oh, wow.
Are you looking at it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a smaller Florida.
Well,
look, the entire thing is coastline.
Yeah, and it's not bad coastline.
No, it's great coastline. It's right up in the Mediterranean Sea. What else you need?
All right. When let me know so I can start investing.
Yeah, I imagine it's a little undervalued right now.
I know.
But yeah, so I mean, maybe he could make something happen that way, but like there's some people that might not have the same end goals as him with that, so we'll see how that one turns out. Let's see, is there anything critical that we missed so far that we absolutely need to talk about today? I was going to talk about the Club of Rome and rules for radicals. I'll save one for tomorrow. Are you familiar with either of those two things?
I read a little bit about the Club of Rome, but if you want me to talk about it, I will have to read more about it.
Well, no, it's just like a quick synopsis of it because everybody was acting like confused that So remember the Mike Johnson thing from earlier this week, and they were even talking about it on PBD podcast. Like, Tom and Pat were saying, like, so like, who the hell is putting this thing in front of Biden, like making them cut off gas to Europe? Like, who would even want that? Why would they want that? You know what I'm talking about?
No, nobody in their right mind.
What? What are you saying?
Nobody in their right mind will want it.
Well, it depends how you look at the world.
What do you mean?
So if you think there's too many people here,
Which I don't.
no, but some people do, how would you stop the amount of people that are here, or like the growth of the amount of people that are here?
Curving their growth.
Right. How would you do that?
Starving them.
Right. And how would you do that?
By compromising their means of food production.
Right. And how would you do that?
Taking away their energy.
Right. So
did I pass, Professor Brandon?
Yeah, you got there. Well, it wasn't a smooth journey, but you got there.
An A+,
B-.
B-.
Yeah.
Take it.
So Club of Rome Limits to Growth was published in 1972, right when Jimmy Carter gets in. The message of the book, or this PDF or this document, is that the Earth's interlocking resources, let's see, is this even going? The global system of nature which we live in probably cannot support present rates of economic population growth much beyond the year 2100, if even that long. Even with advanced technologies, in the summer of 1970, an international team of researchers at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT, began a study of the implications of continued worldwide growth. They examined the 5 basic factors that determine and, in their interactions, ultimately limit growth on this planet: population increase, agriculture production, non-renewable resource depletion, industrial output, and pollution generation. The MIT team fed data on these 5 factors into a global computer model and then tested the behavioral model under several sets of assumptions to determine alternate patterns for humankind's future. The Limits to Growth is the non-technical report of their findings. The book contains a message of hope as well. The authors state that the challenge of overshoot from decision delay is real, but easily solvable if human society decides to act, meaning that forward-looking policy can prevent humanity from overshooting the aforementioned planetary limits. So this cracks me up because, let's look at the 5 things they mentioned, all right? Let me accept all so I can zoom in. Why don't let me zoom in? All right, so the 5 things they mentioned, where is it? Population increase, agriculture production, non-renewable resource depletion, and pollution. So let's start with pollution. Pollution, super easy to stop. Just like we built ourselves up in a consumer society. And how often you hear politicians talking about pollution? Like, you hear them talking about climate change plenty, but we don't talk about the factories that are dumping chemicals into rivers. We don't talk about the islands of garbage in the ocean. Go ahead.
No, 100%. And they've been talking more about the global warming thing than pollution for the last few years.
Yeah. Which
because you know why, Brandon? Because you can solve pollution.
Right.
Global warming is something you can't solve, so they can charge
or prove.
Yeah, or prove. But pollution, you can cut this factory from dumping waste on this river. You can clean up this park. You can do this in a more environmentally friendly way. It's measurable. Pollution is measurable.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, that's a BS one out of their 5 for sure. Agriculture production. So there's a lot of problems with the way that we do farming. Topsoil is not as high quality as it was before. There's not as much arable land, et cetera, but they said the advancement technology can't solve this, but vertical freaking farming, the only thing holding that back from being a widespread thing that could generate food year round with no pesticides, with less water, like 1% of the water, and like unbelievable like benefits compared to the way we do right now. The only thing holding that back is energy. And we know we've talked about before at length all the ways that we could have higher, cheaper energy, like more powerful, cheaper energy, whether it's nuclear or 0 point energy. So if we use something like nuclear energy to power vertical farming, agriculture wouldn't be a problem. And dude, we pay our farmers to produce a limited amount of agriculture. It's not like we aren't capable of producing more. Like, you know how much food we throw away, or like I've heard of them paying farmers to destroy crops before to keep prices at a certain level.
Oh, and I agree. And add to that, Brandon, the level of automation that we're reaching.
Yeah.
Like you wouldn't even have to tend the farm. Like we literally, especially on vertical farms that are
They're insane.
they're insane.
I don't know if people have seen them. I'll pull it up.
You could have robot arms taking care
Drones.
of the crops, drones. But they don't want to hear about it, Brandon, because their solution.
Look at this shit. It's beautiful too. You see this on the screen?
Yep.
Yeah, it's freaking beautiful. But yeah, so what was I going to say with that? So farming is an interesting thing though, because it's like fundamentally flawed the way it works right now. We were talking about today for like a topic that we were on, like the grossness that goes into big agriculture, and that like that's actually an act of terrorism to kind of highlight the nasty stuff that happens in that industry. We can talk about that a different day. Remind me sometime, guys. But
that was great, and then you brought it up today, this morning.
Did it come up in the podcast?
No, it didn't. But I think that's a whole segment.
Should I wet the whistle right now?
No, Brandon, just
a little tease.
No, not even.
Okay.
They need to tune in tomorrow or the day after.
Persistently remind me about that, guys. Just say agriculture terrorism law. Okay, but
you already did it, Brendan.
But anyway, so my point with this is that farming, it's a weird thing, because we're gonna have to like stop doing it the way we're doing it right now, but also, it's going to displace a lot of people from jobs, and they're probably going to fight that and resist it. But we need like the systems in place to give us what we need from an agriculture standpoint before we like stop wasting the resources that we have right now in farming. Because like deflationary innovation, that's the biggest thing that's going to put more disposable income in our pocket. Like a head of lettuce at the store right now might cost what, anywhere from like $3 to $7, right? Depending on if you're going to Whole Foods or like Kroger's.
Yeah.
It should probably cost 3 cents, to be honest.
Well, if you take into account how expensive the fuel energy is for transportation.
Yep.
Labor, taxes related to like basic, food items. It's just insane.
Yeah, and like the refrigeration stuff. Like I remember we did a whole episode on this. Like the average distance from farm to store for food is like some crazy amount. Like it's like over 100 miles, or like a couple of days, where it's like in the back of a truck in a refrigerator, instead of like it being like, they should have vertical farms in the back of grocery stores for their produce section.
Oh, imagine how fresh that would be.
Yeah, it'd be insane. And dude, they don't need pesticides.
That would be insane.
Yeah, and they use 1% of the water. Like it's such an amazing thing.
Oh man.
Yeah, cool things we're coming on to. But so that desalination, nuclear energy, like I don't want to hear this bullshit about limited amount of resources, guys. And then, we've shown population density maps before. Like did you know everybody in the world, Texas is big enough for everybody in the world to have their own house in Texas?
No, I didn't know.
Yeah. Everybody in the world could live in Texas in their own house. Like it'd probably be disgusting, but that's a fact that Texas is so big that everybody in the world could live inside Texas in their own house.
So you're telling me, Brenda, we're not running out of space?
No, we're actually not even using close to like a fraction of all the space we have.
Get out of here, Brandon.
I know you know this, but I don't think too many people. I think like most people think that like the entire world is like New York City.
Come on. I don't think people are that ignorant.
No, yeah, a lot of people think that like we're just like shoulder to shoulder with each other everywhere. And like, you know, how mad I get when I hear people say the world's overpopulated.
It's underpowered. That's a response.
Yeah.
Brandon. Whenever someone, oh, the world's overpopulated, you go like, no, it's underpowered.
Mm-hmm. Under energized and under fed. But I mean, it's like neglecting our potential. That's what it is. And like, I hate wasted potential more than anything, but we're neglecting the shit, and like not only neglecting it, but like actively fighting and opposing and killing people who try to step into it with our potential. We're like, they're fighting against our potential with their lives. It's crazy.
No, it is crazy. The enemy is on the inside.
Like, we showed this map before. I think I've shown this map for like a different reason as part of a different conversation, like almost every week.
Oh God.
No, but it's true. Like, you know, all that black is empty space. And the entire world's like that too.
Forget about it. If you go to South America, if you go to Africa, China, you know how underpopulated it's the biggest in the world, but like by square, like by density, you know how underpopulated China is?
Yeah, look, so so the yellow is 0 to 50 per kilometer.
Yeah.
So yeah, like half of the surface area of China has like 0 to 50 people per kilometer.
See?
And it's like, what would you say that is? Maybe like 10 to 20% of it is those high population cities.
So everything that is on the coast. Well, but people need to know that the northern part of China is freaking cold, just as cold as Russia.
Oh yeah, it basically is Russia.
It is basically Russia.
It's like how the bottom of Chile is basically Antarctica.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, point being, so why do they have this goal, this agenda? Like, do they not know that they're wrong, or like, are we missing something, or do they just want to have an excuse to get rid of people?
Oh, they're murderers, psychopaths, Brandon.
Well, it's a thing called being a Malthist, not in like a dirty way, like a Malthusian. You hear that?
No.
Oh wow, are you being sarcastic?
Yes. But the people at home need to learn.
Okay, thanks for playing dumb.
That should be my full-time job, Brandon, on the show.
Just to pretend you don't know things so I can explain them.
Yeah.
Malthusian is a theory that the population growth is potentially exponential according to the Malthusian growth model, while the growth of food supply and other resources is linear. Fucking stupid and wrong is what that is, which eventually reduces living standards to the point of triggering a population decline. This event, called the Malthusian catastrophe, known as the Malthusian trap, population trap, Malthusian check, Malthusian crisis, point crisis, has been predicted to occur if population growth outpaces agriculture production, thereby causing a famine or war. According to this theory, poverty, and it's funny how like they're afraid of a war in that scenario, but not in any other scenario. According to this theory, poverty and inequality will increase as the price of assets and scarce commodities goes up due to fierce competition for these dwindling resources, blah, 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 blah. This increased levels of poverty eventually causes depopulation by decreasing birth rates. If asset prices keep increasing, social unrest would occur, which would likely cause major war, revolution, or famine. So
basically, it's a socialist assumption of a zero gain game that we're gonna run out of things. Because the thing is, this people, Brandon, they don't know how to produce anything.
Right, and they aren't visionaries. Like he says, that agriculture production is linear, and like their thinking is linear. You know, like they can't like perceive the concept of like creating a whole new invention that changes the world. Like, you know, like look at when they created the freaking I don't know, the assembly line or whatever, or the like they created factory jobs. Like it displaced all the people who would like work in the farm, or what was it, the cotton gin or something, like people used to have to pick cotton by hand, and then you could just like throw the cotton in the gin, or like the cotton gin would do it itself. Like it displaced a bunch of people that were doing that stuff, but then people were able to be more productive. You know, like we're constantly producing things that make things cheaper, but if we allow it to happen. Like they've actively fought against the things that would make us have the most disposable income and like the most abundant basic needs.
I mean, A great point, Brandon. I was actually going there with this point. I don't know if you're familiar with Moore's law,
I've heard that before. What is it?
that computers get exponentially faster over time.
Right.
All right. And that's how technology works. Like maybe population gets exponentially bigger, but the way we come up with these solutions and be able to generate more things,
Right.
it's not linear. Like we proved year over year that it's not linear. Like a great example of this is flat screen TVs. All right.
Yep.
Like 15, maybe 15 years ago when they came out, like a 32-inch TV will cost you an arm and a leg,
Yeah, like 10 grand.
like 10 grand.
Mm-hmm.
And now you can pretty much walk into Walmart and get a very decent TV for 200.
Exactly. And that principle should follow with the most basic of things, not just the most advanced of things. Like it should follow with food, housing, and energy. But we're fighting that tooth and nail for some reason, which is like a crime against humanity. And like the biggest proof I could see that they don't want these things to get cheaper. Because like imagine a world where those three things, like right now, those three things, food, housing, and you could bundle in energy and transportation. So those four things probably cost somebody, like the average person, maybe 60% of their paycheck, right?
Yeah.
So imagine a world where those essential things that everybody needs cost like less than 10% of your paycheck. How much does that change society?
Oh, tremendously, because you can start putting away savings, and savings turn into investments, and investments they turn into wealth. Right?
Yeah, and it's in the people of the consumer economy freak out, but it's still good for the consumer economy because you have all that extra disposable income to buy bullshit with.
Well, I mean, I'm not a big fan of the consumer economy.
Me neither, but it is really what like fuels a lot of things.
Yeah, it's I don't know, Brandon. It's just ridiculous.
What? The
Yeah.
consumer economy?
No, this whole thing is ridiculous.
But you made a good point though with computer speed and technological growth going at the same pace as the population, because here's population growth. You know, it goes crazy. Where was it? Goes crazy like in the Industrial Revolution. Shit. So yeah, look at this shit. It went fucking insane like when the Industrial Revolution started, right?
It goes ape shit.
Yeah. So we're like right here. But at the same time, here's the speed of computers. Here's the speed of computers. Try to time that right. Moore's law. So boom, there you go. Is this the right thing? An observation that numbers of transistors on a microchip roughly doubles every 2 years, whereas its cost is halved over that same time frame. So the power doubles every 2 years, and the cost of it gets cut in half every 2 years. So why aren't we seeing that in everything? Like, why aren't we seeing the ease and speed of producing food get twice as fast every year, and the cost of food getting cut in half every year? Like, the cost of those things should be exponentially going down, and the speed and quality of it should be exponentially going up. But somebody's fighting that. We know who that is.
No, but are we gonna get into economics?
No, but this isn't economics. This is social stuff.
I mean, economics is social science, Brandon.
Okay. But no, I'm not. We're not getting into anything. This is just kind of like the final point.
No, but you have Keynes versus Hayek, right? You have Keynesian economy that is inflationary, right? And
Keynesian.
Keynesian. How do you pronounce
Keynesian.
All right, because I was doing the German pronunciation.
Yeah, he's a demon. He's like, the reason that he's the one people hear about the most is because his model was the most convenient or like the most exciting for the people that are working government.
Well, so if you have that model, Brandon, is it possible for food to go down?
I mean, if you allow the technology or a system where it gets really cheap to make, yeah. Like even if you're adding money to the economy constantly, the price of things could still go down if you build them better. Like you said with TVs, I use that example all the time because it's like the most jarring example.
Bistock has a really good case study on it, by the way.
What, the deflationary innovation?
Yeah, about TVs.
What does he say?
I don't know.
Hmm.
I helped produce it and I forgot about it, but I
I assumed something stood out since you brought it up, but never mind. I said I assumed something stood out to you wanted to make a point on, but
and that where we discuss my role here is plain dumb. Right. And I don't want to get into a whole economics discussion this time.
So Keynesians believe that because prices are somewhat rigid, fluctuations in any component of spending, consumption, investment, or government expenditures cause output to change. If government spending increases, for example, and all other spending components remain constant, then output will increase. Yeah, that's just a way to pitch the notion of government spending.
Well, actually, some people, they've been doing some revisionist history about the Great Depression.
Yep.
That used mostly Keynesian economics to to get out of it. They created a lot of jobs.
And what a crock of shit, by the way.
Yeah, and they argue that if they used the Austrian school of economics to get out of the Great Depression, they would have done it like 10 or 15 years earlier.
Yeah, and it was really, I mean, I could make an argument that it was like socialist Keynesian tendencies that got them into the Great Depression because, so to understand why the Great Depression happened, you have to like look at when the Fed got started because the Fed's the reason the Great Depression happened. Like they go from having really low rates during the roaring 20s to like all of a sudden they just jack rates up super high out of nowhere with no warning, similar to today. And then, the market crashes, of course, because that was like the first time that they experienced like a really low rate environment and then, just jacking them up. And instead of cutting the rates, like they kept them up for a really long time. And then the banks weren't giving out credit. So it was almost like the Fed was like trying to do this to the economy with the way that the the rates were. And then, FDR starts like the New Deal, the freaking Social Security stuff, saying that it was because of like greedy capitalists that all these things happen. But no, it's because of the fucking government instituted Federal Reserve that, like, I can't think of a more socialist thing out there than the Federal Reserve, where a group of people gets together every month and gets to decide what the price of money is. Like, we know, like, out of all things, we cherish the market. We always talk about how great the market is at setting prices accurately, but we will let a fucking group of people decide the price of money.
Well, that's what we're doing it, Brandon.
Yeah. No wonder the Great Depression happened.
Man.
Yeah. No, but there's some sick, dirty, twisted shit around the Great Depression that we could definitely get into someday.
Oh,
there's like a 45-hour long book about FDR that I've been meaning to read, but there's a lot of 45-hour. And the reason I quantify books in time and not pages is because I listen to them.
Oh man.
Yeah, but I think that's enough bouncing around for one night. We're close. It's 11 o'clock. Let me read some chats quick and then we'll dip out. So let's see. Steve P said, I've definitely got you. My neighbor, he's talking to Alan. FDR was a commie, 100%. We'll talk about that one day.
That video, and I gave you shit the other day.
What?
That video is a long time coming.
A video about FDR?
Yeah.
I know. I need to make a video about like a few different presidents that I have a serious problem with. And the fact that people say that FDR was one of the greatest presidents ever pisses me off more than most things in life.
It is infuriating. If people actually learned a little bit about we was it this week or the week before that we were arguing how many presidents would the average American be able to name?
It was probably last week. I said I think there's 8 that more than 50% of people can name. And I'm really excited to do that idea I said about finding out about who knows about it. Like it's such a good idea that I don't even want to tell the chat right now, even though I trust them deeply.
You trust them not. Let's just keep. We need to keep secrets.
I know that's why I said that's why I said I'm not going to tell the chat. I'll just do what I said I was going to do and then play it on here as a surprise sometime.
But
That was a good idea, though, right?
it's a great idea,
Yeah.
and we need to we might get someone on board to develop that the FDR video.
What's that?
We
Sorry, I
need-
was reading a chat.
Oh yeah, we might have to get someone on board to develop the FDR video because it needs to be the best one that ends all other videos.
Yeah, like the decisive FDR video.
Yeah, it has to be done.
Mm-hmm. Vanessa says, I've always questioned the theory that there are too many people. We have so much land and so much potential. We are controlled by idiots. That's right, Vanessa. But don't worry, because stuff reveals itself and things are turning around a bit. But yeah, we can't let up on the pressure. We cannot get complacent. Alan Satoshi Greenspan and the Fed. Weird thing for the longest serving Federal Reserve chairman to say, Alan Greenspan, but I agree.
The Fed immediately.
Yeah. Alan Greenspan's an interesting guy to look into too, because why was he allowed to be the Fed chairman for so long?
Funny that Alan Greenspan picked Alan Greenspan.
That he once said in the Fed.
Yeah.
Well, he has he intentionally picked an ironic name because Bitcoin is anti money printing. Like, it was created because of money printing, so he threw in Satoshi as the middle name.
I know. Very, very interesting.
Yeah. Seems like a cool guy here. Ignore how indoor grow houses can produce food all year round. Why cities don't have them in the malls says enough. Yeah, exactly. If you guys are interested, Jeff Booth's book, The Price of Tomorrow, delves into technological deflation. Hell yeah. I'll write that down.
Oh.
Well, all right. What's up?
No, man, a good show. We cover a lot of bases here.
I know. I feel like I could just live stream and complain about things all day, but
No, but
what fun would that be?
We give them some pearls.
Old taste.
Yeah, and we give them some pearl of knowledge to our audience.
Yeah. Some things to think about. And
What do you start, Paul? Did you learn something today?
yeah, that's a good idea. I'll do that. Can you really don't hear a buzzing noise right now?
I do, but I'm ignoring it. Like most problems.
Has the chat heard a buzzing noise? Guys, say in the chat if you've heard a buzzing noise for portions of the show. So I keep hearing it go on and off, and I've never heard that before. All right. Final poll to close it out. Did you learn something tonight? All right. I put yes, capital yes, no, capital no. Ah, fuck. I put I only put 2 normal no's.
All right.
Ah,
good.
that ruins it.
No, it's good.
Damn it, I'm so close.
All right.
All right, capital yes pulls out to an early lead.
We provided some value, Brandon.
Oh wait, never mind. I didn't do 2 lowercase no's. I did it right.
But I still like to make you double check yourself.
Yes. All right. Well, let's let that run for a minute and I'll read some more. Keynes believed that capitalism had failed during the 1930s and not that it was the Fed Reserve Bank. They did everything wrong, but the production for war efforts in 36 to supply both sides. Yeah. Yeah. You ever read the book called, what was it? FDR, Hitler and the Russian Revolution by the hell's his name? Anthony Sutton. Some pretty sick, twisted shit and some pretty interesting questions arise. Like, why was Kuhn Loeb, a New York bank, giving money to Hitler? That's a really strange question. That
Sutton must be one of the most underrated writers.
yeah, just that trilogy alone.
Absolutely wonderful.
Yeah, no, I love that guy.
He died recently, right?
Somewhat recently, yeah. He would have been a cool podcast guest if he was still around.
Oh, he would have been wonderful.
CP says, my neighbor growing up owns a bank and has 1,500-acre property. I have access to a mile-long lake on it, so it's beautiful there. You would love it. Okay, nice. Unfortunately, good takes so long to grow and doesn't grow faster unless you want more hybrid food, even more than it is. Is he talking about vertical farming being bad? See, I keep reading these chats like in the opposite order that I should read them, and I keep reading them from like newest to oldest, and it like things don't make sense in that order.
Nothing makes sense, Brandon.
All right. Yeah, 0% says capital no. But now somebody's going to do it just to troll me. All right. I'm gonna quit while ahead. We have 94% saying they learned something tonight. So good night. Good stuff. If you guys want to talk one-on-one or have any individual questions, connect with me on Connect. I'll drop the link in the description.
And if you want to talk about architecture, just send me a message from Connect.
Yeah, Humberto's on Connect as well, and he knows a lot about architecture and
Communists.
yes. So if you want to have a deep dive about that, you know where to go. Aside from that, join the Telegram group for Forbidden Book Society. You can check out Patreon if you want. And obviously, like and subscribe. Thank you for watching, guys. As always, tell a friend, tell an enemy. No matter what, see you next time. Good night. Love you.
You know, we talk about the deep state, we talk about the globalists, inflation versus deflation.
Well, I mean,
Here at Mar-a-Lago.
I'm baffled that this isn't front page news.
Do you guys support a specific political party, or do you dislike both of them?
Oh, it worked like a charm on you guys.
Let's go, Brandon.